knew it was going to be this large, I would have come like last month. Anyway, I am the owner of Wink Design Group. We're located in Port Jefferson. My partner couldn't be here today, but Margie Keegan is. Margie does account work for us and some new business. Anyway, so I really wanted to discuss the difference between, I don't know if I can walk with you, between graphics and packaging. So packaging designers definitely do graphics, and I'm not certain that it's the other way around. Packaging design really is a whole different discipline. I almost have to come this way. Anyway, the wink on wink is that we have more than 20 years of experience, but I only like to say 20 so we don't date ourselves. My partner and I have experience working for Fortune 500 companies. We work on small and large brands, and specifically talking to the very small boutique brands today. We do brand concepts, brand new, and we also do brand refresh. We're award-winning. Some of the brands that we work with in the past are Coca-Cola, Anheuser-Busch. My partner actually spent about 5 years at Colgate-Palmolive. I've worked with Seagram's, Kraft Foods, and the list goes on. And then today, as we opened up Wink about 7 years ago, we definitely work on some smaller brands. I think one thing that I've learned in the city, you know, you come out of design school and you're a great designer, but today I think our point of difference is we design for the consumer. We are the consumer. We get it. We're parents. We have pets. We know every aisle because every day we shop every aisle.
Just want to mention one of the brands that we're working on is Johnny's
Chicken Burgers. So packaging is a silent salesman. Packaging is the last communication the brand has with the consumer, their purchasing decision, the process. The design and the content are really essential to speak and to influence the consumer. At the end of the day, when they have to pick it up from the aisle, it really just is a packaging, and what is it communicating? It's not just about something is really attractive or it's a great color, but really it's about the communication so that the consumer has an idea of what they're buying before they pick it up. The Wink process always starts out with research. We look at store audits, we look at trends, we look at related categories. Maybe there's something in another category that's interesting that we could borrow. We then go into visual positioning. We try to create a unique and authentic positioning. Every brand has a story and a big personality, and hopefully it communicates on pack. That's the job of a packaging designer. We do a whole line of creative exploratory. There may be 8 to 10 designs. Brainstorm, we innovate. We'll look at actual structure. We'll think about printing. And then lastly is always brand presence, is how it communicates across every platform, whether you're working on a website or you're going to a trade show, that all the communication is always cohesive. So these are just a couple of key points, and I'll try to be fast. We always want to be relevant, be direct, think big, be consistent, and again, just to repeat the importance of packaging design. So this example just is basically talking about in the last 10 years and maybe even longer, the decline of soda. So if you start to look around and you see all the new things that are coming out, there's natural sodas, there's juices, and they all definitely have a definitive look. So I guess as you're designing product, you always want to be relevant, and also the packaging really needs to be relevant to today's consumer. And clear communication, being direct. Brand character, personality, words, color, texture. Again, the communication, it's not so much design, but really for me, packaging is like a language. You're just communicating what your brand is about. So in the example, the transparency, these kinds of packages we see today really talk about what's on the inside of the package being very transparent. It is what it is. These are the ingredients, and instead of on the back panel, we put it on the front panel. Or all things are showing windows, because the consumer is really educated. They want to know what they're buying. On the bottom, there's always the lifestyle brands. You know, Starbucks has convinced us that $3 is a good idea for a small cup of coffee. It's brand, it's the experience. I think that's one of the best examples, but also even Cape Cod chips. It's not so much about the taste of the chips, it's about the experience. Certainly Corona with their wonderful commercials, again, it's all about the good time. There's other brands that are product focus, like Lay's, where you see poppables, you almost imagine how light and crispy and airy that chip is. So again, I guess what the stress is that you're really trying to communicate to the consumer so they know what they're getting, and there's no mistaking of the brand's personality. The next one is just to really take your brand and consider what it could be. So if you're doing an ice cream bar, maybe it'll translate into a cookie. So to think bigger than the one product that you have, even beyond flavors. Like Johnny has chicken burgers, but it could be a meatball, it could be a sausage, it could be so many things. So as you're thinking about branding, you can think about how you can expand it. This is an example that we had worked with a client, and the client had a line of pro versus consumer. And so taking the packaging and making it black for the professionals. And also some of the communication is definitely different. It has like less directions. But that's just thinking about your product and how it can expand. And then, like I said before, being consistent on all platforms, whether you're at a trade show or, you know, I've looked at websites where we have a really natural looking package, and then you get to the website and it really doesn't relate to the brand message. And I think just having that cohesiveness is really important. And lastly, again, packaging, at the end of the day, while it's something that maybe not at the foremost of what you're doing because you're considering pricing and value and all this good stuff, at the end of the day, when you're not at a farmer's market and someone's not tasting it, you really need to communicate the most effective way of what is inside, what they're buying, so that they can go home with a purchase. Because even if you have a great product, if nobody purchases it and it, you know, it's not communicating, it doesn't get purchased. And that's it. Thank you.
Is there any
That's
questions?
good? You said it was good.
Web design or both? Or-
We do. We have partners that do web. We do packaging, and I like to say we're all about the brand. So we've had clients where they will go in, big clients that are in Walmart and Target, and they'll go out and they'll spend a lot of money on a web design, and then they'll come back to us and say, can you art direct it? So I'm not going to claim that I'm a web programmer, because I'm not, but I'll end up feeding someone pictures that are appropriate to communicate what they need to communicate. But we do banners, we'll do trade shows, we'll do brochures, we do sell sheets. It's really all part of the consumer brand.
So where should they start, on the product and what it looks like, or the website, or?
I mean, I think, for me, it's, you know, your logo is the first thing that identifies you, so it's a logo, but I think it also goes part and parcel with the package, because again, sometimes you design a logo and you design yourself into a box, and then when you realize that perhaps you have a product that'll be down many categories, so it's a soap, but then that soap is going into a mop. And if you think about it a little bit broader and you develop a logo and the packaging, it sort of gives you, it's really your communication, you're developing the personality. So sometimes we'll even do positioning boards that basically are not designed, but it might be color, texture, pictures, words. It's who are you, what is your brand character, and from that you develop different positionings, and you might say, well, we're a combination of this, and that's basically what it is.
Could you speak to getting your image out there via social media?
You know, I guess it's just, again, being consistent, you know, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. You know, if you're a natural product and then you come up with a photograph and you're posting it all over Instagram and it doesn't look natural, you really want the message of your brand to always be consistent. Consistent colors, consistent logo, consistent words, over and over again and repeated, which is the best way to develop a brand.
How do you frame cost?
It really depends per project. You know, it depends on the scope of the project. It depends how big it, you know, when we do things for Target and Walmart, it's deadline driven. You know, there's many different facets to it. So it's all individual, and we really try to accommodate everyone. You know, the bigger brands that we work with were really brands that we work with in the city. Now that we're out on Long Island, we realize that the budgets are much different, and we just try to accommodate, because as you're growing, we're growing as well as a small company. So we really try to work with you. Anybody else? Good?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
very
for
much.
having